First of all, I was imitating. You know, to be honest with you, I was copying what I heard on record and trying to do it that way. And as time went by, when I started to meet my heroes, for instance, when I met Freddie King, when I met Muddy Waters, they didn't want to hear me play like them, right? So they wanted to hear me play like me. And that's when I realized that I had to develop some kind of personality of my own with my music. Being what I am can be lonely sometimes because I feel like I'm too purist or I'm too, like I'm part of a dying tradition, you know, like a dinosaur of the blues, really. And there have been times in my past when I've thought, well, I've got to pack this in because it's lonely. You know, maybe I should become more of a rock and roll musician so I can hang out with the other guys. But when Robert came along, I thought, oh, there's someone else that likes this stuff and plays it too. So it made me feel more at home.
Do you remember when you got your first guitar?
Yeah.
When was it?
Well, I was about 15. Well, when I bought my first guitar, that is, my grandmother bought me a guitar when I was 13, and I couldn't, I mean, that was just pure whim. I said I wanted a guitar, and she bought me one. And I couldn't play it. I never learned how to play it, so it wasn't until when I was 15 that I bought one very cheap and learned to play.
Do you remember the first feeling of it? I mean, did you sort of immediately
Well, it was very foreign. It wasn't looking, you know, it looked so easy for people like Buddy Holly and Elvis Presley, the way they held the guitar, but you actually got one. It just like, it was funny, and the strings hurt, and I had no idea. And it really was purely for love of listening to music that I started to play, just to, you know, a little bit at a time.
Did you like the sound of it, your own sound?
Yeah, because it's one instrument where you can hit one string with a plectrum. Just hit one string and it sounds good, or maybe hit two strings, and you start to invent it, you know, yourself, and you think you're writing and you're learning, and it is enjoyable as you're doing it. Not like I would imagine playing the violin, you know what I mean? That would sound awful when you're learning, but the guitar sounds good when you're learning.
Did you ever consider another instrument?
Yeah, when I was a kid I wanted to play trumpet, violin, drums, all of them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So how come you chose?
Well, because the music that I was hearing that I really liked was being played on the guitar, you know, and I'd do Buddy Holly. I mean, I guess the only other person that that I really liked was Jerry Lee Lewis, but piano was inconceivable. I mean, you can't just go out and buy a piano, whereas guitar is much more accessible. You know.
Right. What do you think is the best thing about the guitar? I mean, is it the sound of it, or is it the feel of it, or is it what it can do?
I think it's so adaptable. You can carry it around, you can play it in your room, you can amplify it and play it to thousands of people. You can play it with a slide, with a bottleneck, and you can play rhythm, you can play lead, you can use it as accompaniment, you can use it as a voice. It has so many uses, you know. I can't think of any other instrument that is that versatile.
Very few white musicians actually play that kind of blues that you played in the 60s.
There weren't many then. There are a lot more now.
Yeah. I
think the problem was with most players, even today, is that we were talking about this earlier on with some other friends of mine, that they look at the people that are immediately influencing them, like the modern guitar players, and they stop there. They think that that's where it started. So people that listen to me, if they're listening to me now or they were listening to me in the 60s or 70s, they think I started it. They don't choose to go beyond what I do and find out what I was interested in. And that mystifies me, because that's what I did. I mean, I heard Buddy Holly and I heard Elvis Presley, and I wanted to know what they were listening to. I wanted to know where it came from. So it became my obsession and my kind of scholarship, in a way, like being at school, to find out where it started. And I would go back, you know, through Muddy Waters and through all the people that came from Mississippi and Chicago, and try and examine it and learn every aspect of it. And I think that's what is fascinating about guitar playing, and the blues and rhythm and blues and rock and roll. There isn't a record made that has any soul that didn't come out of the blues, you know. And even people today, like Prince and Bobby Brown, and they sing the blues. I mean, it's there. If you know a little bit about it, you can hear it.